Self-Destruct sequence activated.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Runkley here, and welcome to another edition of the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast. Today is Saturday, June 11th, and this is episode number 26. If you're wondering where Morphod is, well, he kind of had a little bit of a disappearance a couple weeks ago, and he's taken some time to basically take care of some stuff on his personal side of life, so hopefully he will return to us soon, but that doesn't mean that the action has stopped, so we got just a little bit of news. The 6 Degree of Freedom news has been kind of lacking in the last month, for lack of a better term there. But Descent Underground did release a Proving Grounds patch a few weeks ago. And it's patch number 2274. They're doing a bit of rebalancing. Some of the ships got a health buff. So some of the ships with the working specials, their speeds have been changed, so they'll go a little slower now. The Torch now mines poorly. It wasn't meant to be like the best miner in the game, so they fixed that. They've added co-op, so you can play multiplayer co-op against AI on Valor and Mobius. It's just the same co-op you've been playing, but you now can invite a friend and just rip up the bots in there. So that's good, because there's a lot of people that are really wanting their single-player campaign to have co-op, and the fact that they're working on that in their AI is while they're working on the single-player in parallel. That's a really good sign. So co-op is working in the Proving Grounds. The Warlock has this new deactivator tool. The tool steals power-ups. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it also can be used to disable laser grids and mines. And if you've listened to this podcast before, you know the laser grids are not my favorite thing in the world, so it's good to see that there's a ship out there that can deal with them. And the fact that you can change ships after you die, if you're coming up against an opponent that loves using laser grids, just switch over to the Warlock and just disable them. So, sounds good. Some missile explosions have been fixed. Some walls would eat explosions and no damage would happen. So that's been fixed. Smart missiles are toned down a bit. They're not going to be chasing quite as aggressively. And the homing missiles, they now home better. So yeah. And then, let's see. The ore fuser, if you guys remember seeing that, that's the thing that spawns little blocks out in the world. It's good for blocking people around, but that now requires resources to use, and you can't just go around blocking the core and capture the core anymore. So the Goliath spawns with a full ore hold, but it uses up those resources, so it can't just spam it all day. You do get you do get ore when you mine it, so that's a good thing. The Shaman will get points for healing. That's fixed. And there's been various map updates, and the gadget auto-switch blocking is fixed. When you're using a gadget, it won't auto-switch on you automatically. So it sounds like the biggest thing in there is the co-op. And it's been kind of slow. I mean, that update was, I think it's like the 9th or something like that. It's been a while since they've updated Descent Underground. The 9th of May, by the way. Hopefully they're doing a lot of good work. They're still putting out their shows every week. I highly encourage you guys to check that out over on their YouTube channel. Their Descendant Studios, so check that out. Getting into the community news this week, the Descent Rangers, of course, have been quite busy. They've been doing a whole bunch of different game modes. They have, of course, their 2016 game nights have been playing every other week, and it looks like that the last one that we missed was the Gauntlet. I think I talked about the Gauntlet on the last episode, actually, where they were doing 3 speed runs, and it looks like that the winner was Ryusei, who finished it with a time of 101, which the times that were posted, I mean, the highest time was like 128, so a lot of rough competition in there. Sirius and Varen seem to give the most challenge. So good job for Ryusei for taking that out. And then the Chaotic Phoenix event happened last week. There were 9 games played that day. The next one up is on the 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's called the Weta Mesa Vesta, which apparently is a Descent 2 game called Vesta 2. And normally what will happen is people meet up, play a couple games, they'll start playing games on other maps. It's a pretty good time, so definitely go check that out. They're over at DescentRangers.com. I do believe Sirius is hosting another event. I don't think he's announced what they're playing yet. There's been some ideas thrown around, but there has been nothing... maybe Sirius can tell us since he's in chat. So, but yeah, his event will be happening pretty soon. Keep an eye out on the Descent Rangers Facebook page for that. That's where he posts the events for that. So, and there you have it. You notice the observatory's been a little bit absent. There's been a couple reasons for that. I'm hoping to get back on that later this month. Don't have anything to announce yet, but there will be more observatory action. In the meantime, there's been a lot of DCL action, and we have 4 weeks to cover. Of course, the last week I was out. I was in Atlanta. The weekend prior to that, I was prepared to go live with Morphod and didn't realize Morphod wasn't showing up. And the week before, Morphod had something come up. So we've been missing a few weeks here. So Co-op Saturday was today this month. So there are 3 people doing the co-op. It's not too bad. But hopefully we'll see another one in July. But talking about the DCL, we have 422 matches played over the last 4 weeks, which is I'd say that's a good uptick in activity. It's about 105, 106 a week over the last 4 weeks. 23 games were gold versus gold, 45 silver playing each other, and 50 with bronze playing each other. But the biggest activity goes to the silver versus bronze tier. We're going to get to that. 87 games. You might wonder why that is. We'll definitely cover what's going on there. First off, a big welcome to Lee. Congratulations for joining the ladder and sticking with it. Looks like Lee's been playing a ton of games this week, and it'll just take a little bit of time to get the skill going. But once you get it, you'll be racking up those wins in no time. SDF Jeff been continuing his series with PP Sky. 3 wins versus him, including a close game of 26-24 in Mind Tricks. Very close. PP Sky has always challenged SDF Jeff, but it always seems like SDF Jeff has a way to pull out the win, which is it's very interesting. So I'm glad to see that series is continuing. Static. This next pair of pilots are very interesting. Static 2-7 versus Browns this week, including a high game with a dominating victory of 20-9 over Lato 2 in Boot. This is amusing because Lato 2 is 2-7 versus Bronze, including a high game of a dominating win 20-8 versus Static in Descent 2's scrimmage. So looks like those two are playing each other a lot, getting big wins off each other. Good to see rivalry brewing there. Fyrex's been around. He's got an 8-2 record versus Bronze, including a high win of 20-16 versus B2AF in Vamped. I highlight that because B2AF is on a tear. We'll get to that in a minute. Skywarp has been playing a lot. He's 15-1 versus Bronze. He's got a 20-4 win over Maestro in D2 Neptune. And Neptune must be a level he likes because he also puts up a silver threat of a score of lost 15-20 against P-Funk in D1 Neptune. So Skywarp knocking on the door. Very strong games for him. Big Rat, not a whole lot of activity from him, but he does post a 1-1 record on against Bronze, including a win 20-16 over Swarthy in Athena. Swarthy's been active. He's got a 3-10 record versus Bronze, but his big win is 20-15 versus B2AF in Logic. And again, another win against a pilot that looks destined for the silver tier, but we'll see. B2AF, in 4 weeks, he's played 80 games. 15 wins and 2 losses versus Bronze. We've already highlighted those losses. But he's got dominating wins, 20-9 against Bird Dog and Black Rose, 20-9 against Swarthy and Crimson, and 20-6 against Static in Crimson. On top of that, 40 games versus Silver. 11 wins and 29 losses. That's 11 Dark Horses picked up, 3 from Lady Silver, 5 from War Master, and 3 from P-Funk. Those wins against Lady Silver, by the way, all in overtime, including 21-19 in Mind Tricks, 26-24 in Ascend, and a mind-boggling 32-30 in Fuse. That is serious overtime right there. Bird Dog, He is the top bronze right now, though, after posting a 1-1 record. But his big win is 1-9 versus Bahamut. He beat Bahamut 20-15, picking up a dark horse in IS. That's a fusion only map. I'm not sure if that qualifies as like a fusion bronze gold dark horse, but because Bahamut, it does hold that trophy, or at least he did at the time. And Bird Dog saying, I don't care if I'm bronze, I'm gonna beat you in there, and he did, 20-15. Well done. And he's sitting at the top bronze this week, number 14. Going into silver, we have Watts showed up for one game this last month, but it was to defend his X4 trophy against Lady Silver, succeeding in doing so, 20-14 in Wrath X4. P-Funk this week, 3-12 versus Silver. Probably his high win this week would include a 20-14 win over Ernie in Logic. If you've been keeping track of him, he's been tearing things up too. He's got a dominating win over me, 20-10 Lurk, but we won't talk about that. He's good against me in Lurk. And that was part of his promotion or demotion challenge, I guess you can call it. And that came down to the wire too. He had I believe it was like a -1, and had a really, I guess you'd call it a low target against Vaniac, but he rolled Vamped against it, and he was very careful in going out and getting information about Vaniac and what he can do against him, and he didn't beat him, but he did post 15 points against him, and with a few suicides, that landed him with +4 on the challenge. So congratulations, P-Funk. Keeping Silver funky. I like it. Warmaster, 7-2 versus Silver, including a high win 20-12 over Lady Silver in Crimson. His 6 other Silver wins were extremely close. He had a couple overtimes, but the other win that wasn't within 2 points was against P-Funk, 20-17 in Nysa. So we saw Warmaster kind of start rolling over Silver for a while, but over the last month, it's kind of fizzled out a bit. He also has a gold threat, 6 of them versus Soldier, and 1 versus Behemoth. Of course, gold threat meaning scoring 15 points or more against that higher division, including a high game of 18-20 and a loss against Soldier in Nysa. Behemoth, not a whole lot of activity out of him, but he did pick up a dark horse off his brother Bahamut in EO with I don't know if that's X2 secondaries or primaries. It doesn't say, so I'm imagining it's secondaries. That's typically the standard used, but still a very good victory over a solid. Well, I say solid gold pilot. We'll get to that in a minute. But Bahamut's been up and down last month. We'll get more on that later. Lady Silver, 4-19 versus Silver, including a dominating win, 20-9 over P-Funk in Flea, which I believe is her renew home level. She used to be her home level. She kind of switched around a bit, but she came back and decided Flea's her place. So good game there. And also getting a gold threat, losing 16-20 against Bahamut in Logic. Melvin, 4-3 against Silver, including dominating wins 20-10 over Lady Silver in Ascend and 20-7 over P-Funk in Fused. That's a big score there. He also has gold threat, losing 15-20 against Cyrus and Crimson. I'm sure he's not happy with that. I'm sure he wanted to win that game. So, Melvin sticking around, playing some good games. We also have Vaniac. Vaniac completely blanking out bronze, 15-0, including 7 wins over up-and-coming B2AF. We mentioned how he was doing earlier, and for Vaniac to hold off that challenge, it's very good for him. He gets a dominating win, 20-4 over Swarthy and Flea. And then in the Silver Division, he's 10-4 versus them, dominating P-Funk and Logic 20-10. And on top of that, 2-8 versus Gold. Vaniac picking up a gold threat, losing 16-20 against Diablo Infused, and 1 dark horse winning 20-15 against Diablo and Salute, and something I call a dark horse domination, doubling up on Bahamut, 20-10. Beating him in Savage, and we'll have a couple of Dark Horse dominations on this episode. So stay tuned. Some really interesting games this past week. Lotharbot, 3-0 versus Silver, perfect record, including a 20-11 win over P-Funk and Logic. On top of that, also 2-1 against Gold. threatening Dracona in Logic, losing 15-20, but picking up both of his wins against Bahamut. 120-15 in Forte with respawning concussions. And I guess Bahamut must have said, okay, enough of that missile crap. Disable all the missiles. Well, Lothar still wins 20-16, picking up the dark horse. Deimos, 8-1 versus Silver, including a 20-14 win over Warmaster in Athena, picking up 4 dominating victories over Lady Silver, including a high game of 20-8 in Mind Tricks. That's a lot of dominating of your own division there. Also, of note, Deimos is up for promotion to gold. He's only got 1 game played, but it was against Bahamut. And that gives him the win there, gives him the gold threat for winning 20-15 in Logic. He only needed to win in overtime. He picked up a +4 there. He's still got games outstanding against Dracona, Bahamut, second game against Bahamut, and Diablo. Still outstanding there. He also has a 2-1 record against gold, his other gold win coming as another Dark Horse domination against Bahamut, 20-9 in Windham. Of course, Mark 39-2's home level there. And on top of that, he has another pair of diamond threats, including a high game, losing in overtime, 19-21 in Flea against Jedi Luke. So, breathe easy, guys. You can sleep well at night knowing that Jedi Luke's record silver streak of 516 games and counting is still intact after another overtime scare from Deimos. So I think we had one of those like a month and a half, 2 months ago. So nice job, Jedi, holding him off, but even just as good for Deimos for keeping up with him. But the top silver this week belongs to Ernie. He's sitting at number 4, 16-0 versus Bronze, including dominations, 1 versus Static, 4 versus Skywarp, and 1 versus Bird Dog. He's 5-1 against Silver. The only loss, of course, coming to P-Funk, but he's dominated P-Funk twice, including winning 20-7 in Crimson. And then picking up a gold Dark Horse, which is how he gets his high rank, winning 20-14 against Solja in Athena X2. And then we move on to gold now. We have Diablo up next. He's 4-4 against gold, including 4-2 against Bahamut. And 2 of those wins against Bahamut were dominations, both 20-10 in Lurk and Mind Tricks. Bahamut, now I said he's been up and down, and he's kind of faltered against Silver, 9-6. But he did pick up a domination recently against Lady Silver, 20-5 in Fused. Does it count if it's Athena X2? Of course it does. His record against gold this week, 6-17, or the last month rather. But those include 3 overtime wins, 2 of them against Diablo and 1 against Solja. But he does have dominating gold wins, and those both come against Diablo, including a high game of 20-4 in Logic. That is just ridiculous. That is a very, very strong win. And on top of that, for as bad as he was doing in Silver, he has picked up a Diamond win in the past month, going 1-17 against Diamond. He's got a Dark Horse of 20-15 with his win over Jedi Luke in Logic X4. And they played, I guess, the very next game, he still did very well in the same level, but he fell short, losing 17-20 to Jedi Luke there. So Bahamut, he's also in the middle of a demotion challenge right now. You can see that over on the descentchampions.org website. He's played 3 games. He's +6 through the 3. So hopefully, it's kind of funny because he was even after 2 games, but he got a -6 from Diablo, and Diablo signed up a second time and played this game. And his comment is, "Let me just put the nail in the coffin." And instead of holding him to 15, he ended up losing 21-19. So Bahamut back to +6 after 3 games. He's got 5 left, 1 against Sirius and 1 still open. In fact, both of the gold challenges currently have an opening. So if you're at all interested in playing in those, definitely go do so. These are 2 very skillful opponents, and they will be good games. Fairly positive of that. Sirius not doing a whole lot this week, but he did show up with a 1-0 record versus gold, beating Bahamut 20-16 in Ascend. And Cyrus also showing up briefly, going 1-0 versus gold. He's got a 20-12 win against Bahamut and Salute. Now, Solja, he's been gold's warrior this week, if you can call it that. He's got a 17-1 record against Silver, dominating P-Funk 20-5 in Logic X2. He has a 7-1 record against Gold, dominating Bahamut 20-5 in Logic. And then he's got a 2-7 record against Diamond. He's got 3 Diamond threats against Jedi Luke, including a loss 18-20 in Athena, but he's won twice, including a Dark Horse win 20-17 in Athena, and that dreaded Dark Horse domination, winning 20-10 over Jedi Luke in Ascend. But it is a note, he is 2-7 against Diamond, and we'll get to how that got turned around. Dracona is your top goal this week, sitting at number 3, 4-0, including a overtime win, 22-20 against Bahamut in Flea, which I believe was the challenge match. She was supposed to hold in the 13 and had to take it to overtime to get the win. That's pretty much where his +6 is coming from right now. But still, perfect against Gold. Can't ask for better than that. Dominating wins 20-6 against Bahamut in Forte with no missiles. And then a 3-19 record against Diamond. She's got 5 Diamond threats this week. 3 of them coming against Jedi Luke. High game of loss 18-20 in Logic X2. She did it twice. And then 2 against Mark 392, including her closest score yet to him, 20-22, losing in overtime in Ascend. Oh boy. I think that bubble's going to burst pretty soon. Good luck with that. Dark Horse, 3 of them on Jedi Luke. The closest one was a riveting 24-22 overtime win in Logic X2. So Dracona making a lot of noise up there at Gold. But, of course, we have our 2 powerhouses, our Diamond pilots, starting with Jedi Luke, sitting at number 2, 13-0 versus Bronze, including the elusive, perfect shutout, 20-0 with no suicides against Lee in Logic, 41-0 versus Silver, dominating 4 times versus Melvin, 3 times versus Deimos, 3 times versus Vaniac, once versus P-Funk, and once versus Warmaster. That is a lot of domination. And then 49-6 against Gold. Dominations 1 versus Sirius, 11 times, holding Bahamut to 10 or less. Cyrus once, Dracona twice, Diablo twice, and 3 times versus the retired Morphod. Very impressive dominating run there. I mean, 49 of those wins, and what's that, 12, 13, adding these up here, 15, 17, 20. 20 of them, like more than 40% are 10 or less he's holding his opponent to. That's serious stuff. Your top Diamond this week, of course, Mark 392, 12-0 versus Silver, dominating 4 times against Lady Silver, 3 times versus P-Funk, and of course, for a Diamond to dominate Silver, you have to hold him to 5 or less, by the way. You can't. 10's not good enough. You need to go 5 or less. And a 10-0 record against Gold, dominating 3 times versus Zero and once versus Dracona. And the game of the week is actually going to go to one of his games this week. It's going to be the 22-20 overtime win that Mark 392 had against Dracona in Ascend X4. Dracona is knocking on the door, but Mark 392 yet to let him in. And definitely you can check that match out over on the Descent Champions ladder. We'll have a link up to it, of course, once we put the matches up on the website, once we put the show notes up there. So definitely go and check them out. All right. So with that, I believe that's going to wrap it up for this week. If you have anything you want to say to us, go ahead, write us over at emails at selfdestructsequence.org. Perhaps you want to give Morphod some words of encouragement. Perhaps you want to say no more solo shows, Wrongly. They're terrible. Perhaps you want to say get back here and let me kick your ass. I don't know. But emails at selfdestructsequence.org. Make sure to note if you want us to read your name or if you want to be a chicken and be anonymous. That's fine too. Other contact information, you can find us over at Facebook and Twitch at fb.me/SDS podcast, or the channel you're on now, twitch.tv/SDS podcast, and over at Twitter using the handle at SDS_activated. Also, you can find us at our website at selfdestructsequence.org. Lotharbot says, Dear Morphod, get wrecked. All right, so podcast schedule. Normally we're doing these Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's 5:30 Eastern. With Morphod out, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing these every week, but we are definitely going to keep up with what's going on. Anything major that comes out, you we'll definitely be here. We'll keep our iTunes podcast going. So definitely check that out over on iTunes. You can subscribe to our podcast, give us a rating, leave a review. It's the best thing you can do to help us out. And of course, if you want to get back into the game, well, the DCL's got that information for you. Head over to descentchampions.org/new_player.php, and you can find out everything you need to about getting back into the modern game of Descent. Watch our Facebook and Twitter stream. Let's try that again. Watch our Facebook and Twitter feed for our next stream, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Until then, I'm Runkley. See you, bye.